Hey, it's Dr. Tartt. I'm working from home today. Can I get some advice to husbands? All right, I want to give some advice to husbands on how to resolve conflict. All right, so they did this study of 130 newlywed couples, and they found that husbands that did this one thing significantly decreases their chance of getting divorced. Right. And this thing is something that is counterintuitive to men. Right. When I was reading, I was like, man, men would not think to do this. We are not raised or trained, or we don't think to do this. Matter of fact, we think our wife wants us to do the complete opposite. But wives want us to do this so badly that when we do this one thing, we can actually decrease the chances of us getting divorced by a whopping 81%. All right. And I know you're saying, what is this one thing? This one thing is accepting influence during an argument or a conflict. All right. So, if any of you ever practice Aikido, right? So, martial arts, you know that one of the techniques is to use your opponent's strength against him or her for you to win the match, right? So they come at you, use their strength with technique, right? Versus just straight manhandling them. It's first straight strong arming them. All right. When you're in conflict with your wife, you can't strong arm her. Right now, we think, okay, part of being a husband or a man is leading and being strong and not being walked over. But when we really look at it, when we accept influence and we use the like a keto method for our relationships and we just yield to win, we can have better marriages. All right. So, what does that look like? All right. So, instead of going into the conflict looking to fight, go into the conflict looking to for your wife's good point. Right. So, all right, if she makes a good point saying, babe, you know what, you work too much and it's not enough time at home and the chores are mostly on me and time with the kids is not distributed evenly, or I need you home. Okay, that's a good point. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you agree with it, but it's a good point. You do need to be a family man to just acknowledge it versus fighting and being defensive. Because if you're defensive, you're just going to crash and burn. And if you sit up there and you escalate. The studies show that 65% of men escalate during conflict. This is where I strong arm my wife. This is where I just dominate her verbally. That's not going to work. Wives don't like it. All right. Number two, acknowledge the good point quickly and verbally. If it's true, all right, you know what? I have been working a lot. I know I'm going hard for this family, but I can totally agree that I need to spend more time in this season focusing on the family. That way I disarm the conflict and I bring it to an end quickly. What's the point of going round and round, especially if you make a good point? I'm strong enough to acknowledge. Okay, I'm acknowledging that point. And then number three, ask what the recipe is to fix the issue. Let's not just talk. What's the recipe for fixing the issue? And then just do it if it's reasonable, because we value peace over winning. If you're a smart husband, you value peace over winning. How can you win with yourself? If I dominate my wife, you dominate your wife, your girlfriend, you really lost, fam. You really lost. You might have won the battle, but you're gonna lose the war. Right, especially that night. It's just not going down. So be smart and say, look, the war we're really trying to fight is arguing if we're men. We want peace. Can we agree? I just want peace. And if you bring up something, cool. Now here's how this works. I know y'all thinking, you know what? But I don't want to give in every time. How is that? How is that leadership? How is that manhood? Right? And you shouldn't, because there are women who will absolutely run over you and have no respect. But when you do this, when you acknowledge a good point and you verbally say I feel you, and then you go ahead and make the necessary changes on the things that she has good points, then you're better able to say, hey, hold up, I disagree on this one. I'm gonna need you to do what I just did. I'm gonna need you to accept my influence a percentage of the time, because I give in when there's a good point, because I just want peace. I don't have too much ego that I won't listen to. You're probably going to have a lot of good points if we're going to be together for 50, 60, 70 years, right? You're going to have some good points, right? But when I disagree, I need you to respect that. I hear you. But if I don't feel it, I don't feel it. And I need you to acquiesce as well. Right. So it says in the Bible, Ephesians 4, verses 2 through 3, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep unity of the spirit through the bond of peace. All right. So, husbands, you hear it. Wives, you hear it. This also applies for girlfriends, boyfriends, and those in relationships. So let's go make peace, not war. All right, husbands, you know what to do.